Happy Sunday morning live. Yeah, it was yesterday. Yesterday, I got my menses, and it was interesting. So I was watching the news feed, and CNN had an article that talked about how many women have called in sick because of their period. How many women have called in sick because of their complications with their period, at least once a month. They would say at least, I don't know, 9 days out of a year, 9 days of lost working days because due to menstruation complications. And I would say I'd had a lot more. If I was with a company, I would have a lot more than 9 days. Because I noticed, well, not noticed, I remember when it all started happening, and I was in the military, and I was just, and I don't, something triggered, and I was like depressed, bloated, and all that stuff. And I would sleep, and my sleep schedule would be off. And I'd be like totally like, I mean, people would think it's also even bipolar a little bit too, where I'd be up all night and then sleeping all day, and I'd just be so off. And then it became like 2 weeks before that I would notice that I would get my period. And then I'd have all these different like cravings and bloatedness, and it was just horrific. So I noticed a couple days where I felt sort of hormonal a little bit this last week, but yeah, Krista. But no, really, yesterday my period came. I noticed it. I woke up great, but then I noticed the cramping and everything. And okay, fine. I just laid on the couch all day yesterday, and that was it. And then I had some pizza. I didn't even drink my juice. Didn't even drink my juice. Had some pizza, had some ice cream, okay? And I just laid on the couch. That was it. And so, and I noticed it too, that my digestive system, it was holding on to stuff. It wasn't really holding on, but you could feel that the menstruation messes with your digestive system too. It holds on to your stuff, your poop and all that. And you feel the cramping from that. That's really what the cramps, and the cramps, yes, is from the uterus releasing the lining, but also too, it messes with your digestive system. So anyway, so this morning, everything is perfect now. I got up early, went to bed early last night, well, around 10 o'clock, and slept I slept on and off yesterday. But I got up early this morning. I know I'm bleeding now, but it's fine. Now it's just blood. So before it was like a 2-week nightmare, like 3 years ago, 2-week nightmare. And now it's only a 1-day nightmare with a few days prior letting me know hormonal changes are happening. You're going to be dropping your eggs and the lining and everything else that's not being fertilized. So that's a vast difference. Now, I could see now why some women don't understand women that have PMDD, because when they get their period on that day, they're sick for that day, and that's it. Some women have weeks prior before they have their period. Okay? And yeah, so women have to understand other women's issues as far as PMS, PMDD, and stop calling each other lazy when a woman has an issue. When you see her hormonal and you see her all upset, you know she has a total menstruation issue. You know she does. And we women have to stick up for each other. We really do. Because I suffered from my own family, people calling me lazy. I suffered from other people in my world calling me all these names, calling me all, like bipolar, all this other stuff. And you take it to heart, and you think that you have an issue, you think that you're like mentally messed up, and maybe you are because of the hormones, but it's not your fault. Okay? It's not. And that's why people commit suicide out there, because they have all these issues. Nobody understands. And we're labeling people lazy. We're labeling them all these horrible, bad this, bad that. And maybe the behavior that doesn't seem to be aligned with ours doesn't match up with what is accepted. But they have a hormonal issue. They have issues. Okay? Just because you have a more accepted cancer, disease, and chronic illness that everybody knows about doesn't mean that And PMDD was not popular back when I started dealing with it. Okay, it was not popular. It was hardly ever known. And I would go to doctors, I would go to, naturopathics, I go to everybody asking, what the hell do I do? And you can't file for disability because it's not recognized. I didn't have a lot of insurance. When I did have insurance, actually, when I did have insurance, I did go to Kaiser and ask them. And what do? They put me on Prozac. That's what they did, was they put me on Prozac. I'm not going to be on Prozac for PMDD. If I would have stayed on Prozac, I probably wouldn't have even created this damn protocol. If I would have stayed on Prozac and listened to Kaiser. But remember, they don't know how to fix people. Okay, so this is where, now fast forward to me starting the protocol, and you see the name of my business page called Exposing the Lies, Candida, Weaponized Fungus, Mainstreaming Mutancy. So that came from the conspiracy world, because given that I just gave up on the system helping me out because they couldn't give me any relief, I had to find different ways to make money. I had to be very entrepreneurial, very, very strategic in how I survived in this world, because I lived in a world where it's sink or swim. I wasn't going to live with my parents until, in a basement for, until I'm like 45. No, I left home a long time ago. I've been doing my own thing for a while. Occasionally I'll need their help, occasionally, but I would pay them back. And only a couple times I need my parents' help financially, but I would always pay them back because that's how it worked. Okay, so finally, how do I say this? So finally, when I created this protocol, I came from the conspiracy world. Okay, I had lost my train of thought from it. So I created this. So I got into the conspiracy world because I needed to blame someone or something. Okay. And then I started thinking that, oh God, the vaccines, oh God, the prescription drugs, oh God, all the medical stuff, oh God, oh God, oh God. And I then started thinking that it was intentional in some way. Now, I don't know why it would be intentional, but I was parodying the party line. I got involved with the Alex Jones crowd, got involved with the Natural News crowd. And even though, yes, it did lay the foundation for this protocol, it really it put me in a kind of a divisive type of sequence. Okay. But then I started doing the protocol, and I started seeing things reverse. My mentality changing. And then I started looking at the anti-vax, because I was very anti-vax, and I started realizing the vaccines weren't the issue. Then I started looking deeper and deeper, because all I was doing was parroting what other people were saying. I was looking at at all the social media stuff. I was looking at what people were saying. No different than when you go into a holistic group and people ask, well, what do you do for this? And everybody's saying, like, apple cider vinegar or colloidal silver or this, or, elderberry syrup. I mean, you see these people parrot the same shit over and over again to all their friends. Parroting. Because no one knows why it is that things are so popular. They don't know why it is there's vaccines. They don't know why it is that people talk about apple cider vinegar. They just say, oh yeah, Big Pharma, they're all horrible and they're all bad. And they don't look deeper. I didn't look that deeper. I kind of just, I watched all these videos, and I already had an axe to grind with the system, because I wasn't getting help and I wasn't getting where I wanted to go. And I was doing alternative methods out there, and it didn't work, and tried everything and nothing worked. And so, so then I started just being like everybody else. I'll just parrot the party line, and you see it. So then, of course, the thing with the chemtrails, there was part of the party line with the chemtrails and the 5G and all that stuff, and Big Pharma. And then I wrote the book about Exposing Lies, Candida. I realized that Candida, laid the foundation, but it wasn't the reason behind cancer, disease, and chronic illness. Mainstreaming mutancy. Well, there's a reason behind that. I realized that, yes, we are mainstreaming, and we are trying to put out there that it's okay to have an illness, it is okay, nothing wrong with it. We don't want to treat anybody less than. We're trying to create acceptance for things that we think we can't control. And the system, they're doing the best they can. This is what I've come to realize after all of this craziness. that the system is trying the best they can to figure out a way for us to live in a society full of microbes and viruses and pathogens and survive it. Okay, so then I looked at the different arguments with the anti-vax and the pro-vax. Okay, and I was never really pro-vax, but I thought I had to get the flu vaccine way back when, which I probably could, I don't know. I mean, I still am not sure about the whole flu thing, but it is what it is. But I understood the argument. I mean, these are the arguments that I hear from the pro-vaxxers. Well, I would rather have autism than be dead. And then you hear an anti-vaxxer say, oh my God, and they just get all whipped up and pissed off, and oh my God, you'd rather have your kid be maimed than they're going to be maimed from, I mean, like, and then they're like, oh yeah, I have an immune system. These measles, they're just the measles. There's nothing wrong with the measles. They're not that serious. Not like Ebola, like out there in the Congo. Everybody gets measles. Everybody gets this. But you know that everybody gets crazy cancer. Everybody gets crazy diseases. And then now we're having this argument where everybody kind of lose sight of the real bigger picture, and they're caught up in their very narrow argument. And I understand why. Because we're trying not, I mean, we don't want to die. We don't want to be maimed. We don't want to have all these disabilities and cancer disease and chronic illness. But here's the thing, put those arguments aside for a minute. And this is why I've been going back and looking deeper at these viruses and bacterias and bacteriophages and all this. And these things have been around for years. For years. People have died from the measles on a lesser immune system, on a weak immune system and weak body. People have died from the flu. Okay, the fact that we are a strong society is because we have trained our bodies to be exposed to weaker versions of the microbes out there, and we have antibodies. But yet, people are still dying out there from old age, from cancer, disease, and chronic illness. But we're living longer with more disabilities. Okay, so you're living longer with more disabilities, and you're procreating, and your kids are inheriting these antibodies/viruses. Now we're creating generations of weaker children, of which then you're seeing, yes, I don't say the rise in autism, but now more of an awareness that autism does exist. Not saying there's a rise in it, okay? That we have now the means to gather data and actually galvanize it and categorize it and present it to you in a nice, neat form so you understand what we're dealing with. But people will perceive things and create stories around data. I mean, look at the thing with ProMed. I was introduced to ProMed, which is a tracking of all the emerging diseases in all of the world, from somebody in the conspiracy world. They're saying this is what biotech. I'll show you what ProMed is. ProMed is where they track all the different emerging viruses in the world. Okay? And so when someone introduced to me this ProMed, they came from the perspective that this is biotech creating the diseases, trying to kill off the world. That was their perspective. And I'm just like, and that's the conspiracy world, the paranoid world, where they think the global elite, the Illuminati, are trying to kill off the useless eaters and take Earth back to itself, or it's the reptilians trying to take Earth back and kill everybody with all of these crazy diseases they've created. And I adopted that same mentality too, because I couldn't figure out for the life of me why I would be injecting poison in me. But guess what? This is what now finally, when I've taken my juice, reversed a lot of my issues, my mentality has gotten more stable. I'm more well balanced, definitely calmer, a lot more energy, and a lot more strategic. I realized that all of these diseases have been around way before biotech was ever created back in the 1800s. That these actually were plaguing civilizations for centuries. And then we have climate change, and then we have these viruses are locked up in the glaciers. And now we have global warming. Now we can blame all the global warming on, on the chemtrails and the 5G and all this other stuff, but it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter whose fault it is as far as climate change. It's actually irrelevant, because humans, when they want to advance their technology and advance their society, you're going to see a kick up of elements, and it's going to affect different environments. But you're seeing them trying to now allow biodiversity to grow. And so they are cordoning off different areas, because humans, through no fault of their own, just what they've been taught, they do tend, with imbalances, decimate the area that they're in because they don't know any better. Humans aren't inherently evil. They just have imbalances and are not aware of their surroundings. But if they are aware of their surroundings, they are worried about feeding their kids and getting to work and all that stuff. They don't want to worry about if there's like an animal that's about to be extinct in this area. So that's why we have government agencies, to kind of keep the balance. That's why we have game wardens, so we don't decimate the deer population, because we need to have these prey for the predators out there, because we want to keep, we're seeing, extinction in the big cats and all the different wild animals out there because of hunting and this and that. But forget that for a minute. But humans and our government they try to keep a balance. Okay. So then I realized, okay, so these viruses have been around for years. If you did not bring in modern medicine, let's say we just eradicated biotech, eradicated the vaccines, eradicated biotech, eradicated all modern medicine, and we go back to the Dark Ages, most of you would not be able to survive the rampant viruses out there on a weak body. Most of you, if not all of you, actually all of you, have come from mutated parents with weaknesses. All of you have major weaknesses left unresolved. All of you. Because forget JJ for a minute. If you got rid of the vaccine industry and immunotherapies and biotech and all these different methodologies, you would not survive too long in a society full of pathogenic people that also are exposed to the microbes that have been here for eons, for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. You wouldn't survive it. So given that we cannot we cannot prevent pathogens, guess what? The system is proactive. They're like, okay, we know you're going to be exposed to Ebola at some point. They know it's going to happen. You know you're going to see an Ebola vaccine in the future. Nothing wrong with it. You know you're going to see other types of vaccines in the future based upon ProMed following the emerging diseases out there, the emerging viruses in third world countries. So, they're okay. If you know you're going to be exposed to these things, you might as well get the vaccine. And then this is where the whole balance is. Yes, some of you who are very, very sick would, upon exposure, would die from being exposed to that virus in the wild out there. Some of you may get complications from the vaccine. And this is where it sucks to have this type of mentality, but you have to. You have to understand where this is all coming from. I would rather get maimed than die. That's a crappy choice. That's the crappiest choice ever, but it's the reality. It's a freaking reality. I would rather get maimed than die from a preventable disease. Okay? And that's like, that sucks to have that mentality, but that is the mentality that has to be, because you see these kids that been bit by a tick. I'm looking at one of my chemtrail friends that I used to hang out with all the time on Facebook in a little chemtrail group that I had. I didn't have, but somebody else had. I was helping admin. And they're getting bit by ticks left and right. They already have Lyme disease, but their body is relatively strong that they can withstand the disease, and their body adapted to it. And she's been bit over and over again, and she's pissed off at the chemtrails, thinking that that's what's going on, is that these chemtrails are causing more insects and pestilence to rise, and then now we have all this Lyme disease everywhere. Now everyone's going to get, and I see a lot of people talk about that they've been diagnosed with Lyme disease. It's everywhere. It's a virus on mutated people. Okay, you can't help how the environment's going to be. You can't. There's no way for you to control your environment, really, truly. You can't prevent pathogens. And so, on a lesser body, people have died from Lyme disease. Now, is there going to be a Lyme disease vaccine? Would a very, very weak person be able to handle the vaccine or be exposed? Probably not. But there is somewhere on that spectrum of strength of a baby and a human to where they're able to withstand the vaccine, but may not be able to withstand the actual exposure. And this is where the CDC is then trying to create, or not, they're keeping track, but this is where the biotech is trying to create some lesser version of it. So when you do get exposed to it because of these tick bites. Now, this is interesting. My dog hasn't been bit by a tick ever since way before she tried the protocol and did the protocol. I have not been ever bit by a tick ever. I've had a tick crawl on me, I think last year, but it never bit me. I haven't had a mosquito bite me at all this summer, and it's only June 30th. Yes, I've had mosquitoes like buzz in my ear like yesterday, but it never bit me. My dog has not been bit at all. I haven't seen a flea on my dog this season. No fleas, no ticks, no major pestilence in my house. There's 2 of us in my house are on the J-juice. 2 of us. My husband not. But he hasn't been bitten by a tick at all either. But he did the J-juice, drank a few quarts, and did the waterfalls every so often. I really wish he'd get back on it, but he has, other issues that he doesn't want to deal with while he's driving the truck. Okay, fine, I get it. But maybe a few viruses got kicked out of his body from the time that he did drink. So what I'm saying here is that we have an option for a third choice here. And that we can't fault the system, because there will be people who will not do J-juice. It's good. We've introduced this J-juice to people. I have. I've even tried to call somebody who has a major staph infection. She won't take my advice, and I'm okay with that. There are people that will not do J-juice. There are people that will not listen to any other information. They want to go listen to the doctor. That's fine. Listen to your doctor. But they're asking advice from their friends, not even from the doctor. The doctor gave them antibiotics, but it didn't work. But there's some people that will only listen to the medical professionals. That is their right. That is fine. But you eradicate the vaccines in this pathogenic world of microbes. You are now setting the groundwork for people to die. That's essentially what the anti-vax community is, because you get rid of the vaccines altogether. But even that, people say, oh, the safer vaccine. There's no safer vaccine. There really isn't. The reason why they put the adjuvants in there, yeah, okay, because it does stimulate the immune system. Yeah, okay. No matter what you get the virus or you have the adjuvants in it. Adjuvants are just elements. You get exposed to that every single day. Your body processes it out, no big deal. But if you have an imbalanced system, like too many, if you're over mineralized and you get more minerals, yeah, I could see complications, but that's like with anything. Some people are in the discrimination mode of, well, I'm not going to eat that food because it gives me a reaction. Okay. But no matter what, any type of virus you're exposed to, whether it's a weak one or a very strong one, your body, relative to its biochemistry, is going to have a reaction. That's just how it works. But you work on trying to, you think that pan is the enemy? You take away the vaccines of people who don't take care of their bodies, it will decimate populations. People are asking, well, the Amish, they don't get vaccines and they don't get this. The Amish are dying too. Do you see any Amish people looking really healthy? Amish people, they contract disease. Amish people die from old age. What is old age? Too many viruses they've been exposed to. This is the argument I hear all the time. Oh yeah, the Amish, they don't have the Amish have their own issues. You know, Amish people don't really travel around, so they're not exposed to a billion different viruses. And they don't mix. I mean, they mix in, but they don't mix. Maybe nowadays, with them mixing in, I mean, I don't know all of the habits of the Amish, but I don't see them, and I never see them going to different countries. I don't see them mixing in too much with the local people who mix in with different countries. I don't see Amish in California. I don't see Amish in New York City. Amish stay like in Pennsylvania, Ohio, because they're around here in Ohio. Yeah, they do the farmers markets. They don't pay, certain taxes because they don't utilize certain things that the government gives out. So they're not exposed to as many viruses, but they do have their own viruses they're exposed to. Now, I've never asked an Amish person what their medical history is and what's in their family, because that's none of my business. That's the whole thing with the privacy. You don't know what people are dealing with, so people make these assumptions. But Amish people, you look at them, some of them are obese, aging. They have their own mental illness and issues. Don't think that because they don't have the autism that most people get out there right now at this point because of all the different viruses, that they don't have their own issues to deal with. So that's not when people are dying from old age as well as obesity and hormonal issues, it's a virus plaguing them. Okay? It's a virus upsetting the homeostasis in their body. So now we really, instead of being anti-vax and pro-vax, I mean, I don't want anybody to take a side, be pro-vax or anti-vax, but not to eradicate something for a people that doesn't have any other option. Because humans and babies have died. I mean, back in the day, mothers have died at childbirth, babies have died at childbirth. I mean, back in the olden days, they did. Now we're seeing people, their preemies are living through their being a preemie. The fact that I came from Vietnam completely malnourished. They thought I had autism because I wasn't making eye contact. The fact that I look like, I mean, I was really skinny. They called me Spider Monkey when I first got here to America. But my parents, awesome as they are, they saved my ass. My adoptive parents. They protein loaded me, nutrient loaded me, all this stuff. Yes, I got all the vaccines. Yeah, I remember having a major headache one time as a kid, probably from the vaccines, but that's okay. Because I could have died from some viruses, from exotic viruses that are out there that was killing me from malnutrition and then being exposed to all the different viruses in Vietnam. Because Vietnam is full of viruses. Vietnam is a tropical place. It's where all these different influenza and other different parasites that are out there. I know I had pinworms as a kid too. I remember seeing them. Oh, okay. But I still survived. I could have died. Babies and people could die if they don't get some kind of layer of protection from their exposure to an environment. And since we are a global society and people have so many pathogens, and now every single generation is compounding these viruses and mutations, we're pathogenic now more than ever. But we're still surviving. Yes, we're glitching like crazy, and you see the glitches all over TV. Yeah, people are glitching like crazy. But our government and biotech medical community have figured out how that, it's okay to glitch as long as you keep it within the lines of the law. If you're glitching and you're going outside the lines of the law, we have jail. Okay? So people are able to adapt to their glitches. And then they create these specific drugs that, may have side effects, but it may keep a person well within the realms of the law so they don't glitch too much. But let's look at this third option. If it wasn't for the J juice, I wouldn't even be talking about biotech and vaccines and everything in this way. Because what would happen if we could actually fix the mutations in our body, kick out the excess viruses, which will then keep our candida under control, which will then keep our hormones under control. And then, wow, we have a more well-balanced population that doesn't have a need for vaccines. I mean, that's really, truly the aim of J-Juice, is to where we don't have a need for the vaccines or biotech ever again. Yeah, but that's definitely a long time coming. But that's the whole point of J-Juice is, okay, how do we fix the mutations? How can we be exposed to? Because the government's not going to know what it is that you're dealing with. So if you are in specific jobs or you have children, and when you have kids, it's from, because reproduction comes from weaknesses because the body needs to procreate. So they don't know what you're dealing with. So that they see that your kid is a child and their immune system is developing, yes, they're going to require rounds and rounds of vaccines. Maybe they need to space them apart. Okay. But then you as a parent have to understand how to keep those antibodies at bay, because antibodies are basically viruses. You as a parent need to understand the poisons that are out there that will leave your kid's immune system open for viruses. You as a parent have that responsibility. The government has some responsibility to keep public health the way it needs to be. That's the role of the government, is to keep law and order and to keep a specific level of calmness. And so we don't have pandemics or epidemics. But now there's responsibility of the parent to not be plying their kids with elderberry syrup. But that's what parents do. Okay, then you can't get pissed off at the fact that your kid's now more open to viruses out there. So they got a vaccine, now they're relatively protected from against this. Then the parent wants to go and ply their kid with elderberry syrup, colloidal silver, all these different detoxes, and honey, and turmeric, and golden milk, and all this other stuff. And then guess what? You're feeding the candida, the yeast, and you're suppressing the child's immune system, leaving them more open for more viruses to go and attack the different parts of their body. So this is why education around the J-Juice is so important, so you're not applying the wrong methods to deal with your child's illnesses. Okay? And so this thing with the J-Juice, it's relatively black and white. Now, if you don't want to do J-Juice, then yes, the system is right there for you to keep you happy in the homeostasis, the programming that you have chosen for yourself and your family. That's what the system is there for. It's not to influence any religious aspect or any kind of ideology. They're just trying to keep you and your child relatively safe in this pathogenic world. That's all the role is of biotech. But yes, it costs money. If you rely on the system to keep you in the homeostasis that you have created, and then there are emergencies and you don't know what to do, if you don't know what you're doing, you have to pay somebody who knows what they're doing. And so yes, it costs money for vaccines, for insurance, for procedures, for office visits, for all of that. That's just how the freaking world works. Who's creating the beautiful foyers in Merck? It's the people who choose not to know what they're doing. When you don't know what you're doing and you're relying on somebody to basically save you at the 11th hour, you are a customer. You've created yourself to be a customer, but you don't like being the customer. You don't like doctors, but you go to a doctor. Okay? This is what we deal with. So if you don't like the system's methodologies and their products, then don't have a reason to use them. And then what happened is then you have these diehard extremists, vegan and vegetarians, who starve their kids, pour bleach down their throat, who don't want to use the system at all when their kid is in dire straits, and then they withhold any medical help from their child, and the child dies. And then you see them all over social media being demonized. Yeah. because that's the extreme side of it. So I couldn't change the name of my business page. I tried to. I tried to change it from Exposing the Lies to Jilly Juice LLC to match my website. Facebook wouldn't let me do it. They're like, hey, people know you as this. We cannot change the name of your site because people know you as this. Now, if I want to go create another business site that says Jilly Juice LLC, I could. But no, I already have the 6,000 following plus 7,000, 6,000, 7,000. I already have a lot of the research from way in the beginning. I did delete a few things that I just wasn't sure about as far as the FTC, but I realized that Facebook is a private entity, not really subject to government control, unless under certain circumstances. So I realized that you can say a lot more on social media than you can on a public website when you're trying to sell a specific item, like a book. I'm very, very limited to what I can say on my website than what I can say on social media. That's why I've been turning to YouTube as well as Facebook to get this information out, because you can't say certain things in a more of a consumer type of medium. Okay? That's why my website is so like scant, and it has links to my Facebook and links to my YouTube, so that way you guys can then see my thought process without advertising something or violating any Federal Trade Commission guidelines. I learned all this stuff last year. I learned so much last year as far as what the government is, what you can say, what you cannot say according to the government. But here's the thing though, I mean, J-Juice is not a cure. We're not picking out specific conditions that you have and saying, oh yeah, J-Juice is going to do this, because the J-Juice doesn't discriminate against anything. All these conditions, these names for these conditions are based upon biotech and how they deal with cures. Because that's what you asked for, because they don't know anything more than that. Could they have put all of my information together and created something? They could have, but then guess what? Where they got stuck, where they couldn't really go further with my information because of the pain. The Hippocratic Oath bars anybody in the medical community to induce pain purposely and call it healing. Because too many people in our society don't want to deal with pain. They want to be anesthetized and they want to be drugged and they don't want to deal with it. And they want to stay within their homeostasis, their programming, but be able to handle it despite the glitches. So this is where biotech left off and where the medical association left off is where I picked up. So I acknowledge why they exist to begin with. I don't condemn biotech. I don't condemn vaccines. I don't condemn anything of the sort when it comes to the government, because they're there for a reason. They are a balancing force against extreme imbalanced people. And you know we have them. Look all over the internet. They're there. You see them. They make you cringe, especially when you're well balanced. I've had to unfollow many people that I used to follow. When people are just so pissed off at the chemtrails, I'm like, you need to take more of the J-Juice. You really do. Those chemtrails are not poisonous. What's poisonous is the fact that you still have imbalances in your body that you have the opportunity to correct. So here's the thing. I have people that are on my J-Juice that are also still part of the chemtrails world. They need to up the intake of the J-Juice so they can stop blaming and barking up the wrong tree. They need to bark up their own tree. But that's difficult because, we have a lot of people that want to blame, that don't like the government, that want to blame. But I'll tell you what, and the thing is that we weren't there back in the 1300s. But the cavemen have died. Civilizations have been decimated for a lot of different reasons. I'm sure viruses, and you see like Caligula, like those Greek rulers, I bet you the reason why they were so brutal and so horrific is because of those viruses caused them to be so brutal. When someone kills people, When you see that in the population every so often, somebody kills somebody. You see that like right now all over the news. Somebody goes to a Lyft driver, Uber, and the Uber driver is a killer. And this young Utah college student just walked right into the trap of somebody that has so many imbalances and knows how to assimilate to the population. They're the predators. And they go and kill. Why do people kill? Because they have so many imbalances. And it's these microbes that are going out and trying to kill, that's what it is. Because you're not a killer, because you don't have those imbalances. You're not, I would love to see a titer test of an actual serial killer. I want to see how many viruses are swimming around in their body and then what it's affecting. Okay, when you bully somebody, that's paving the way because you're trying to indirectly tear somebody down when you bully somebody. When you purposely bully somebody to where that is these microbes and viruses really rearing their ugly heads, parasites. Because you're trying to destroy somebody. Now, when you actually kill somebody, that's when, oh God. And there are signs there. Psychopaths. So now we have to stop looking at antibiotics as the answer. Let me go down my timeline really quick. Yeah, why jelly juice is effective? Because it's probiotic. You deal with antibiotics, you leave yourself open for more viruses. Do you know what's antibiotic? Turmeric, dyed mixed earth, bentonite clay, pills, powder, supplements, immunotherapies. What else? Painkillers. What else is antibiotic that people use all the time? Colloidal silver. Lemons, limes, highly alkaline water. And you drink the Kangen water and it's at a 9 level. Yeah, that's antibiotic. Okay? Antibiotics suppress your immune system, leaves you open for more viruses to replicate and enter into your body. So now we have to understand the right probiotic. But now you're seeing all over Facebook, these naturopathics are turning to probiotics and they're trying to sell against other probiotics that are out there. I'll tell you what the wrong probiotic is. Pill, powder, supplement. Anything that says that this strain is better than this strain, okay? When they don't actually look at what it's being paired with. Kombucha is the wrong probiotic. Apple cider vinegar is the wrong probiotic. Why kombucha? Because the sugar, when you ferment sugar, there's a certain percentage of alcohol, and all that sugar feeds the candida. Then you hear somebody say, oh yeah, the lactobacillus eats the sugar. No, I'm sorry. When the lactobacillus eats sugar, it shits sugar. Okay? I don't want to hear that argument. So any probiotic paired with sugar, with vinegar, with milk has sugar in it. Coconut yogurt, coconut milk, you don't need the lactobacillus in that. No, that's full of sugar. It feeds the candida. When you feed the candida, it lowers your immune system, leaves you open for viruses to replicate as well as enter your body. The kefir grains, another converted type of sugar. Wrong probiotic. Alcohol, wrong probiotic. The best probiotic is the best probiotic is matched with salt and a highly cruciferous vegetable. The J juice is the best probiotic, hands down. You know why? Because you get the electrolytes from the salt, the nutrients from the cabbage and kale, and you get the lactobacillus that kills the viruses, as well as keeps the candida at bay. The salt, yes, the electrolytes, and it also disperses the viruses. Well, that's what it is. When it disperses the antibodies, this is where this whole thing with the words and all that shit that sounds the same. Oh my God. Not sound, but it is the same. Antibodies are viruses. So when it disperses the antibodies and and makes you release them, then you see that probiotics kills viruses. Wait, antibodies and viruses? Oh wait, they're the same freaking thing. This is why it's so difficult to deprogram people in our society, because of all the different words that confuse. Words create worlds, it creates categories, it creates activism, it creates all this crap. Okay? When you realize that you can have two different words for the same thing. Yes, PJs, they kill us. Semantics, they kill us. Yes. Antibodies and viruses are basically the same thing. The lactic acid will kill the viruses and kill, candida at the same time. Now you're going to see all these. So here's the thing. When you look at these naturopathics and these pills, powders, and supplements, and they're trying to say, oh yeah, which they know that these probiotics will kill viruses and keep candida at bay. But they don't realize that you need to have pain involved, you need to have electrolytes, and you need to have nutrition. Simply just killing viruses and simply just killing or keeping candida under control is still only 50% of the equation. Because, again, they're compartmentalizing. Again, they're just compartmentalizing. It's the powerhouse of the nutrition with the lactobacillus and the electrolytes and the water and the pain sequence. Naturopathics and doctors do not want to induce pain because it violates the Hippocratic Oath or whatever licenses a naturopathic has when it comes to pain. So you're not going to see, and these naturopathics and doctors, they're aging. That's a virus attacking them. You see a naturopathic promoting probiotics, and they're aging, and they don't want someone to experience pain too much, or if at all. They're still part of the system, which is fine. They have a service. They deal with cures. Even probiotics can be used as a cure, but it's temporary. So this is where probiotics can be abused, can be mischaracterized. And so this is where you have to understand the J-juice. So yes, in my little sample, 13 million colony forming units, but I'll tell you what, I drank all my 9-month ferment, but I have used it to seed my other ferments. But you go take a 9-month ferment and you go put it under a microscope, they would have to dilute it like they did last time. They said, okay, these colony forming units of lactobacillus, the byproduct lactic acid, was too numerous to count. We have to now go and dilute it. And when they did dilute it, it was 13 million. Okay? But I bet you trillions and billions and gazillions in a 9-month ferment. It was like velvet when I was pouring it. Because it was actually from cabbage leaves that were like whole that my husband, I wanted to give him back in July. And he didn't touch it. So I don't know what to do with it because I didn't eat it. So I just let it stay in there. It was in the fridge, out of the fridge, in the fridge, out of the fridge, in the fridge. So I didn't know what to do with it. Then we moved. And I just stuck it on the counter. And then finally I'm like, oh, I'm going to just drink this. And then like those leaves disintegrated. They were so fermented that the leaves disintegrated into then this slimy drink. And then when I poured it, it was like velvet. And then I noticed when I drank it, I noticed a next level of healing. Another layer of healing. Okay? So yeah, the longer you have your ferment out, the better. But you know what? You can go as little as 3 days in the time, temperature, and ratio. And maybe you keep one that you don't touch for over a year. Just leave it somewhere in the back. Every so often mix and stir, I guess. Or you just leave it. You don't have to mix and stir. Because I had to basically take a layer of mold off the top. But that makes it stronger. And then you mix and stir. Okay? So we have to deal with probiotics. Now, gone are the days where we deal with antibiotics unless you just basically want to anesthetize yourself. But then you leave yourself open. So yeah, so the cannabis world, that's why I've been so like up against hating the cannabis world for a minute. Not that I hate it like it's horrible, but people are going to be turning to it. And then what's going to happen is that they're going to be so drugged out and not caring, because that's what cannabis does. when you have anxiety, and I've used cannabis for certain things because I've had to go through many healing processes within the last year or so. But but it's but it's only a temporary. It never should be something that somebody just does indefinitely. But people do. What happens is it alters your body. It influences certain hormones. And so some of the outcomes is where you're all energetic and working out and doing all this stuff. But it also lowers your immune system to where you're now more susceptible to more viruses, to not only replicate, but then also to new viruses. And then you start feeling symptoms and you take more cannabis so you don't feel any symptoms. That's what cannabis does. It basically makes you not care about your body because you're wanting to basically kill off and pull the fuses out of your idiot lights. When you keep pulling the fuses out of your idiot lights, yeah, you're going to succumb at some point. It'll only be a matter of time before your body will have a major event because you did not pay attention to the red flags because you kept anesthetizing yourself. That's what our society is. And that's what I'm going to say. Now we have to now start going the opposite direction because that's a tipping point out there. You're already seeing the cacophony of the anti-vaxxers because they're so pissed off at the cancer, disease, and chronic illness. Thanks, PJ. Idiot lights. Yeah, that's true. The fuse box for the dashboard is basically, unplug the idiot lights. But yeah, you're seeing the crescendo of the anti-vaxxers so pissed off at their kids' cancer, disease, and chronic illness, autism, whatever. They don't realize that it's the viruses that are causing all of their kids' issues as well as their own. This right here should tell you a lot. So why J juice works is because the J juice disperses the viruses. Okay? Disperses the antibodies. It stops it from agglutinating. Viruses, when they agglutinate, guess what? They take over. Okay? All the debunkers out there, the Carol Flax, debunking the J juice, they will never expose their titer test to anybody. Oh, they'll call me like, oh yeah, she's killing people, but they don't realize that they're very pathogenic themselves. But they would never, ever give anybody a look at their titer test. Because when you are in a bullying type of mentality, where you're talking smack about a person you don't know personally, and even if you did know them personally, it doesn't matter. You just talk smack about anybody on a personal level, as well as think the salt is poisonous, you have many viruses. And how do those viruses manifest in a human? Obesity, aging, cancer, disease, chronic illness, bad behavior, criminal behavior, bullying behavior, stalking behavior. I get stalked by so many imbalanced, virus-ridden people. That's the manifestation of viruses out of control. Activism is a manifestation of viruses out of control. The people that have been hit with Lyme disease by ticks, ooh. And I've talked to some of these chemtrail activists on the phone. I've talked to them personally. Oh no, they want to stay with their supplements. They want to go. Russ Tanner in the Chemtrails Global Skywatch. He runs Herbalure. And I'm like, where did this whole thing with chemtrails come from? It's run by, oh my God, somebody in the holistic industry. Now, I understand he may have a very good intention because he's afraid of big pharma, but he doesn't realize he's applying the wrong programming to his health issues. And then people are blaming the chemtrails and the 5G and all this other stuff and vaccines for their illnesses, when really they've had viruses in their bodies for years, passed down from generation to generation. And so what's the natural thing for a person to do when they don't know what's going on? They blame the nearest thing to them, the most obvious thing to them. But I've talked to some of these chemtrails, and they're die-hard chemtrail activists, die-hard. You can't get through. They think that if you eradicate vaccines and eradicate the chemtrails and eradicate anything that looks like it could be dangerous, that's going to save them. Oh no, honey. The viruses are everywhere. Pathogenic people mutating viruses are all around you. Okay? So, all these conspiracies and the Illuminati and the MK Ultras and all that stuff, that's a manifestation of viruses out of control. We have corrupt people who are very imbalanced. And if you want to call them the Illuminati, fine. But then if you call somebody Illuminati and all this other, people that practice experimentation on people, yeah, it's imbalances. And they're trying to do stuff too to figure out how to deal with modern medicine and how to make certain things better. And yes, experimentation goes awry. It happens. But we have major mental illness, major chemical imbalances out there. And so remember, those that live in glass houses should not be casting stones. And this is why I got away from the MK Ultra, Illuminati, conspiracy world, because that is a manifestation of imbalances of microbes that are causing you to loop on the same storyline and have that be the reason why the world's falling apart. Kim Jong-un, whatever his name is out there in North Korea, he's obese, totally imbalanced, full of viruses. And look at his son. I've been watching a lot of the North Korea documentaries from people who snuck in to North Korea to see exactly how their life is. And wow, that is I would never vacation in North Korea. I would never. People do, I give them props for it. Some people do, and they mess up, like that guy Otto Warmbier or whatever, who was then thrown in jail because he stole a poster from the hotel. Yeah. These crazy world leaders, whoever they are, they have viruses. They're plagued with viruses. You're welcome, Karen. You're welcome. You know that Trump has viruses. Hitler had viruses. Who else? All of our leaders are aging. They're ridden with viruses. Okay? We seriously have to start looking at a different way to deal with these viruses. Not just throw poison at you or at it, but infuse the right elements. Like, seriously. Because it's not going to get any better if we keep gravitating towards the antibiotics. But it's going to take time. I know it. So anyways, so the mentality out there, if you're not doing J-juice, is either would you rather be maimed or would you rather be dead? And that's the only two options in the medical holistic society until you see a way out of that. That's the only two options in the medical holistic community. Either be maimed or you be dead. But at least when you're maimed, you can still live a relatively normal life. And then you already expect to die at some point. Some faster than others. But let's give people a third option. J-juice is a third option that needs to be taken seriously. And if it's not, then you have no one to blame but yourself. Okay? And then it's just going to be watching people and getting confirmation on everything that I've said. So let's not attack the vaccine industry, and let's start promoting J-juice. And if you don't want to promote J-juice, then live your best life. Because I understand not everybody wants to be put out there, because I know there's a stigma around J-juice because people don't like the pain. I get it. But I wouldn't be promoting anti-vax. I wouldn't be promoting the turmeric and the pills, powder supplements, and stem cells and all that. I mean, I had to get rid of somebody off my Facebook yesterday or the day before because they love J-juice, they say, but then they're all about stem cells and looking for the cure for Lyme disease and all this other stuff. And the person just could not stop commenting. And I can't deal with too much. I can deal with a little bit of hypocrisy, and that's fine if it's not totally in my face. But if you say one thing and do another, then and I see it, and you're so vocal about J-Juice, I've got to cut off that. I just can't deal with it. And then PJ goes, I think I can eat a spoonful of dirt with my juice every day and be okay. What has it done for me? Taking out my fear. Thanks, Shelly. Great. You're welcome. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. But yeah, I do these videos every day, every other day, whatever, because I keep thinking about how do I say the same thing in a different way, and taking in all the information, and maybe there's some new information, maybe there's something that I have to then go and retract. And so, this whole thing with this balance thing that I was trying to do, as far as, I don't know, I was trying to implement this. A friend of mine and I went to Washington, D.C. We were trying to figure out how to explain this, but no, it's going to be about viruses. Because viruses, what antibodies are? They're viruses. And when you have too many viruses in your body, it alters your hormones. And then also to your candida. When you have a candida imbalance, it lays the groundwork to lower your immune system to allow those viruses to replicate and then bring in new viruses. Your defenses are down. And so there's probably a certain amount of time where you have symbiosis with these antibodies, with these viruses. Like you're all living, because the virus needs the host. But eventually, when the host doesn't have the defenses strong enough to fight off, then what happens is the host starts breaking down, the viruses replicate, and they multiply, and then the host dies. And that's what death is the viruses finally taking control of the host on such a level where it shuts down the body. And that's what aging is. That's what all these different diseases are, and all these different, events and death, is that we've allowed the viruses to finally control and shut down the body. And now with J-Juice, we're applying a very different method than the allopathic holistic community. Antibiotic versus probiotic. But it's the right probiotic, the right methodology, and understanding the expectation around healing. Pain is the prostaglandin hormone finally being expressed because it aids in the healing process. Waterfalls is autophagy. Autophagy is when you're purging out and disassembling mutated cells so that way new cells can then be created. So, pretty profound stuff that really needs to be looked at closer and examined closer. But I had to get off the anti-vax train. I had to get off the I hate big pharma train. And that, you see what a process it's been to get off the anti-vax train, to get off the conspiracy train, to get off the anti-big pharma train. Just today I said, I see now, I get it now. Would you rather be maimed or dead? Death is final. Maimed isn't. You can still have a relatively normal life being maimed. Some people who get maimed have like a bit more severe than others. That's based upon what you're bringing to the table. So it's taken me 3 years to finally understand the need for big pharma, the need or why they exist. But now we have something different. But at least if you don't do J-Juice, you have vaccines, you have pharmaceuticals, you have immunotherapies, you have all the pills, powders, and supplements to give you that stay of execution, because your expectation is you're going to die, but you just want to be able to live relatively okay life for the next 10, 20 years or whenever. And you have that option. Then you have J-Juice. Then you got to deal with the pain, and then you're going to see the changes, and then you'll live however long you choose to live based upon your balanced biochemistry. And you have to stay up, you have to keep up on it. You can't just give up. J-Juice is not something you just do for a year and be like, okay, I'm done. No, it's forever. You need nutrition. Your body needs nutrition every single day. And so J juice, you don't have to do it all the time when you finally get to where I'm at, because you'll be able to derive nutrition from the food supply, from processed foods, as well as fresh produce. See, McDonald's has nutrition in it too. It has the different minerals that your body needs. Oh my God. And so does the J juice. And then guess what? Your strategic immune system, your well-balanced immune system will push out anything excess it doesn't need. And then your body will gravitate towards the foods that it wants. And then the foods that it doesn't want. It won't gravitate towards the foods it doesn't want. You won't eat certain foods. But those that do not get their viruses under control will angry face, they're obese, cancer, disease, and chronic illness, on the activist train, the politics train, and they don't want to admit how out of control their viruses are. But now we know. See, this is where the J juice is an equalizing force. If you have cancer, disease, and chronic illness, obesity, bullying, what else? Anger, depression, fear, you have viruses. You have major viruses. We all know those that have specific cancer, disease, and chronic illness, whatever it is, and autoimmunity and fear and bullying and anger and depression, you have viruses, major viruses, and you can't hide behind your, oh, Jillian's gonna kill me, Jillian's doing this. No, honey, you are the one that's pathogenic. Jillian isn't pathogenic. Salt isn't poisonous. But the bullies and the debunkers out there are virus-ridden, and they're pissed that they can't do anything about it because they chose to then draw the line in the sand. Oh, Jillian's stuff is poisonous. Well, if my stuff is poisonous, then I guess you got to deal with your viruses. Have fun with that, debunkers. You have fun with your viruses because you're full of them. Anyways, Karen, yes, cravings do cease. Yeah. I mean, I noticed that when I would walk into a grocery store, and I used to get desserts and cakes and muffins, and croissants, a lot of them. And I didn't want to buy them. I noticed I didn't want to buy them. I wasn't gravitating towards the bakery. Now, once in a while, I'll go eat, a muffin. And not all the time, though. So you'll notice, I had ice cream and pizza yesterday. But then my body just, purged it all out this morning when I woke up. Okay? So you'll derive benefit from all of the food supply, but you're not going to be gravitating towards specific foods. But if you want it, I've eaten a bag of chips before. And then my body just processes it out, So it's your hormones will, especially with women, and maybe one day I won't have my period. I don't know. But I noticed that I'm now it's pretty much on point, every 28 days or something. But maybe I do have my period because I live in a society that's so pathogenic that it is the insurance policy, but it's not going to be so horrific like it was a couple of years ago. Okay? But, I'm not trying to get pregnant. I'm not as active or wanting to be active like maybe I was a couple of years ago. So it'll change a lot of your hormones. And some people who are, very active in their extracurricular activities will notice a change in those too. All right. So yeah, the J juice, if you don't take a side against it, you have all the options in the world. But if you are so against J juice, you cut out the third option for yourself, as well as other people. So now your only choice, debunkers out there, is would you rather be maimed or dead in the choices that you have chosen for yourself? With J juice, you have now another option, a third option. Anyways, have a great day. Go to jillyjuice.com, get the book, send me the receipt. I will be getting a new book out there at some point. I might be changing a few things, like taking out the anti-vax portion of it and adding in new information. But the protocol is in there, and it's very relevant. So it's still worth to get it, even if I'm going to change some information, because no matter what, with the new book, you're going to want to buy it anyways. But you'll notice to be a difference. And I will, in the new book, I will have the recipe and some of the extra information and some of the changes and eradication of other information. All right, but no matter what, the book that I have right now is still going to be viable. But I don't like having the anti-vax portion in there. But it's in there right now, but I've changed that whole stance. So you guys have a good Sunday. The recipe is on my wall if you just want to get the recipe and just do it. And then when you want to get support, just buy the book, let me know, send me the receipt. There you go. All right. You guys have a good Sunday. Talk to you guys later. Bye.